Hey, hello there. How are you? I hope you're doing great. I am by a little pond, a small lake actually, in an area where, in the desert, but in an area where birds are very happy that these little lakes are here because they have a little home they can enjoy. There are pelicans, there are seagulls. By the way, if you're new here and you don't subscribe, you're darker than me. There you go. Subscribe, hit the bell. The bell lets you know when I upload another rant, and those rants are sometimes useful. I don't know. So hit the bell, hit the like button if you like me, otherwise don't, or hit it twice, whatever you want. But subscribe to the channel, you will be helping me a lot. Thank you. So today, because I am getting dark, I wanted to share with you what happened to me when I was in Minnesota working as a temp for DJG. I had my super beloved Lua and Mimo, my dogs, and they were not having a good time at the hotel. They were really tired of being in there. It was tough for them. It was very tough. And I did rehome them, and now they have gigantic backyards, and they can play and they can be spoiled as they deserve. But the flies. But one day, when I was with them, not working, I would take them outside as much as I could. I let them run wild in the middle of fields. Absolutely free, and they were having so much fun. I would every day plan for them to burn that energy and do things outside. One evening, it was night already, I was coming back in the hotel with them after a long walk, and I was holding the door open to bring them in, and Mimo decided, no, I am not ready to go in yet, and I want to keep playing. So he wrapped himself around my ankles, he went back, he pulled, and he did it so fast, I couldn't do anything to protect myself. So I flew up in the air, and I fell head down first, and this part of my head hit the pavement, and I got a big gash in back of my head, and I bled profusely, and I lost consciousness immediately on contact. I don't remember any of that to this day. So luckily there were a couple of people coming in a few yards back, and they saw the whole thing. So they took Lua and Mimo and they put them in my room, and they picked me up, and they told me, I said, take me to the front area, to the reception area of the hotel. I don't remember having said that. I don't remember having walked, because they say I walked to the reception area. I don't remember anything until I was in the ER. So the ambulance came, they helped me, they did things for me, they asked me questions to evaluate whether I was really conscious. And I remember just a few flashes, 2 or 3. I remember looking at a wall, and they were asking me if I knew where I was. And I said, river, river, and that's it. Yeah, I was in Fifth River Falls, but I couldn't even put the name together. So basically, I woke up in the ER, and they glued the edges of my wound together. That was so horribly uncomfortable. In the weeks after, that huge cap of plastic, because that glue turns into a big, solid, hard plastic thing. It was like sleeping on a bottle cap every night. It was sticking, it was horrible, and I had to cut my hair to get rid of it 3 weeks after, because it doesn't dissolve. They tell you, oh, it will dissolve. No, it doesn't. In any case, in the emergency room, I had my first vertigo spell. It was bad. I thought the whole gurney was flipping up. In the following days, I couldn't move because the world would spin around me. Getting in and out of bed was an adventure because I had to hold myself for dear life. It was bad. Working at the company was horrible because I had to lean to pick up things and move around and turn. And every time I would spin, it was really bad. So I went to my doctor. I don't have a super high concept of him. He prescribed me some pills. And I asked him, is this Dramamine? Because it doesn't work for me. I had taken Dramamine before for flights or things like that, and it doesn't work for me. And he says, no, this is not Dramamine. This is very good for vertigo. So I went back home and I researched, and it was Dramamine. A different type of Dramamine, but it is Dramamine. And it didn't work for me, of course. So my doctor was just willing to give me a prescription. Many doctors work on that level. They study medicine, they learn how to prescribe what for what things, and if that doesn't work, they prescribe a different thing that they know it's in the neighborhood. And that's it. They make a living out of that. And if you're one of those doctors and you disagree with me, let's have a conversation, because you know what? That is what you do. Only very few doctors are intelligent enough to talk with the patient and to find what really happens and actually find real solutions. Very few. In any case, the medication was not working. I was researching and researching and researching, and everything I read was horrible, like concussions and these type of vertigo things can last weeks, months, years. And I was already being super miserable. So the idea of just having to go with this for weeks, that idea alone was too much. And since my doctor was going to just prescribe me a different thing, that was an avenue that was absolutely closed. So I had to look for something else. Good. In one of my searches, I read something about chiropractors being able to detect something, and they were talking about nystagmus. Nystagmus is a reflex in your eyes that when these spells happen, your eyes try to find a fixed point to stabilize you. And I didn't understand what that was, but I went to the local chiropractor, and that was a big mistake that I learned afterwards was a big mistake. And this is just for you to learn your possibilities. If you ever have a concussion and you are left with vertigo, do your research, exhaust your sources, your resources, before you go to a chiropractor for this. Maybe you do have a chiropractor that is fantastic, but not for this, not for these type of vertigo, and I will tell you the name of it, because I had to diagnose it kind of myself. I didn't know the name, but I agreed with the doctor that finally diagnosed it perfectly. So the chiropractor decided that the base of my skull was a little uneven. He couldn't find the nystagmus, that reflex of your eyes jumping. And he decided to, he didn't tell me, but he started massaging deeply the bones in the back of my neck. So I asked him, are you manipulating C1? No, C2. My knowledge of that was not that extensive, so I held my horses and I stayed. Big mistake. Because I knew that nobody should manipulate C1 and C2. Those are the vertebrae that hold your skull attached to your spine. And that is a very delicate part of our body. Nobody should mess up with that unless it is a doctor with years of experience and unless they really know what they are doing. It's very delicate. So after the massage, I thought, okay, the massage is okay. He grabbed my head and he twisted it, but his arms slipped and he just caused a lot of pain. So I didn't let him do anything else. I went away, and for the next 10 days I was in so much pain. My neck was on fire, and since then I always had a little bit of the shaky head. Since then it's worse. It is way worse, and I could notice the difference. It is really shaky. So in any case, after the pain started to subside a little bit and the vertigo was still going crazy, I started thinking, okay, who can help me? Because if I go to a doctor and he gives me a medication that doesn't work, and I go to a chiropractor and he almost decapitated me, there must be someone that knows how to work with this that can help me. So I thought, what about those football players that have all these concussions? Sports medicine. So I started researching, and I did find that the hospital nearby, they did have a sports medicine division with concussion treatments. So I had to call them, explain on the phone my problem, because they don't accept anyone just because. And they said they were going to call me back in 3 or 4 days. Okay, they did. They did call me back, and they said, we are going to put you in contact with a neuropsychologist. I had never heard of such a specialty, neuropsychologist. And I said, whatever you have to do, if that is what you do, yep, that is what we do at the concussion clinic. Okay, let's do this. This specialist was 5 hours away, so the visit was going to happen virtually over the phone. And we did meet, and it was amazing. He was a very young doctor, 27, I don't know if I have to guess, super nice and incredibly knowledgeable. He made me do some exercises with my head, holding the phone, looking here and there, and da-da-da. And he said, I think 45 minutes. Amazing. when you can talk with a person, he was evaluating me with every question. I could tell what he was thinking every time he asked one of those questions. He says, I think what you have is BPPV. BPPV. And that is benign. That word gave me a lot of peace of mind. Paroxysmal positional vertigo. I had no idea. It sounded like too easy for the horrible things I was going through. I had been miserable for months at this point, probably 2 or 3 months, and suddenly something sounded that simple. He says, I'm going to give you a referral for your physical therapy there at the hospital by you, and there must be someone that works on BPPV. So I learned later that yes, there were 2 ladies in that clinic, in that PT clinic, that were specialists in BPPV. And again, it sounded like so easy. I went there. They explained to me why it happens, how to take care of it. The whole thing was in our ears, inside of our ears, there are super teeny little microscopic particles of calcium in one part of the ear. And when a big shock, like my fall, happens, those teeny little particles, they get loose, they get dislodged, and they start floating around in the ear, and they affect your balance. They cause the vertigo, and your eyes cannot find the proper position, and the whole thing goes crazy. Okay, how do we fix this? Because if it is microscopic, do you operate? Lay down here, she said. So I went on the bed they have there, and the top part of my body, my neck and my head, had to be outside of the bed, floating on air. She sat there, she said, you don't worry, I will hold you, you're not going to fall. So she made me recline my head all the way down, pointing towards the floor and to the side. The minute we did this, I could feel the nystagmus that the chiropractor couldn't find. My eyes were dancing like crazy. I could feel that, and I couldn't focus on one point. It was impossible. My eyes were dancing like crazy. We held the position for about half a minute, and then looking to the other side, still hanging down, looking to the other side for about half a minute again. So I sat up in that case, and I got out of the bed, and I didn't have any vertigo. It was like witchcraft. It was just that. She said, for 24, 48 hours you may feel funny, but you come back immediately if that happens. We set another appointment just in case for the following week. I didn't have vertigo anymore. I didn't have to grab myself from everywhere 20 times a day. I didn't have to sit and make sure I didn't move fast. It was gone. About the following week, I went there. We didn't have anything to do because I was fine. About a couple of months afterwards, it started again. I went there. We did the maneuver. what was the name of the maneuver? I'm going to write it down here. We did the maneuver, never again. That's it, never again. And that is what happens when you research yourself. Because I thought, okay, what happens with these football players that have these horrible hits to their heads? They don't take Dramamine. It is not effective. Physical therapy, that's it. It takes care of those teeny little particles inside of your ear. And the chiropractor thing was regrettably, well, I don't know how to say that word, was sad because my neck is really hurt. It is still hurt. I don't want anybody to touch my neck again. I will die with this. My head is still attached. We are good. So, no, medications alone sometimes don't work. Funny maneuvers, I am not a fan of. And some things we don't know about are super easy to take care of. So if you know of someone that has vertigo, have them check with a physical therapist and work in coordination with a concussion clinic. It's a service that exists, that is out there, and we don't know. And if you ever hear of a neuropsychologist, don't get alarmed. It's not a thing that where you have to go and sit every day for 50 minutes to talk about your mother. No, these people are like a connection between the parts of you that are your mind and the parts of you that are your body. And it works. It's amazing what they know. Because of course, among the hundreds of questions he asked me in 45 minutes, he was trying to assess if I was coherent, if I had dementia or Alzheimer's or something, and he was discarding all these possibilities, and then he was left with, it's the ear. And he explained to me that the connection between the eye and the ear and our feet is the most important connection we deal with every day since we start walking when we are kids. Because the ear and the eyes assess the world around us and send the command to our feet to position themselves in this way or the other way, depending on our environment. It's amazing. And when one of the three fails, yeah, our feet don't know what to do with that. And our head goes funny and our eyes go jumping around. So some people have a deafness on one ear or both. And I suppose that, learning about their balance is something they learn since they are very little. And that three-party exercise of the connection between the eyes and the ear and the feet, it's amazing. Our bodies are amazing. This was a long video. We went from poor dogs in the hotel to listen to your body and try to find the easier solution. It might help you. Thank you oh, by the way, I'm sorry, but yeah, I was not in the mood for making videos after all of that. So, thank you very much for being here. Remember to subscribe. Remember to like it if you did like it or if you found anything interesting here that may help you. So help me. And have a great day. Take care. Love you. Bye-bye.